Jurors in the Whitey Bulger trial are getting ready for deliberations. Closing arguments in the reputed mob boss's trial lasted for hours today. Prosecutors painted Bulger as a violent criminal who should be convicted on all charges, including 19 killings committed during the 1970s and the 80s. The defense focused on FBI corruption and why the jury should not trust the government's star witnesses, including former hitman John Martirano and Bulger's former criminal partner, Stephen the Rifleman Flemmi. With the jury set to begin deliberating tomorrow on Bulger's fate, we're going in depth on the trial and today's closing arguments. NECN legal analyst Michael Coyne, Associate Dean at the Mass School of Law, joins us right now. Michael, thank you for being here. And you were inside the courtroom for today's closing arguments. You watched and listened to both sides. Give us one key message that the jury will take away from the defense and from the prosecution.
Well, from the prosecution is that, yes, we brought a parade of horribles as witnesses for you, and they were the meanest, most reprehensible men ever to walk the streets of Boston. But the mastermind of this criminal conspiracy was Whitey Bulger, and he's sitting right at that table there, and they only did what he told them to do. And so it was effectively able to draw the sting with the reputation of their witnesses, but at the same point put the ball right back in Whitey Bulger's hands. And from the defense standpoint, they want us to focus on the FBI corruption in this case and the credibility of the witnesses. So if you look at that level of corruption that was there, can you really trust the evidence and the witnesses? And from the standpoint of the credibility of the witnesses, what they've shown is that these witnesses have no moral compass, have no real values, and therefore you shouldn't be trusting a single word they say. When one looks at Weeks and Martirano and Flemmi, their character leaves quite a bit to be desired.
Well, the brother of an alleged Bulger victim, Steve Davis, says he expects the jury will deliberate. The evidence will be so overwhelming that the jury will come back really quickly with a guilty verdict. Do you see that happening, that timeline?
I do not see a very quick verdict. I could see one by the end of the week. I think there are 33 charges. There's an awful lot of evidence. The trial has taken 6 weeks. Many of us have written Whitey off for guilty long ago. His lawyers have not, and they gave a passionate and very effective closing argument today. I think the jury is going to carefully, as Judge Casper will instruct them, sift through the evidence and the facts and take their time making sure that they get it right. He's going to be found guilty of some of the charges, no doubt.
But you think there could be some not guilties in there?
I think there could. Well, because I think there's 33 charges. Some of the evidence is not as strong as we would think from sitting outside the courtroom. Both Deborah Davis's murder and Deborah Hussey's murder, the defense made a specific point of saying that the person with the biggest motive to commit those murders is Steve Flemmi. Flemmi acknowledges being present. It would not surprise me if one of those murders was found, Whitey was found not guilty, or some of the other charges the jury may ultimately compromise on and decide that while he's guilty of many of these, they might bring back a not guilty simply by finding that the government didn't reach the standard of proof in a criminal case beyond a reasonable doubt. High standard.
And that would be, if he was acquitted of one of those murders of the women, I'm sure that would be a moral victory for Whitey Bulger. Michael Coyne, we appreciate your analysis, and we thank you for joining us here on NECN this evening, and we'll see you during our coverage during the day with Alicia Palumbo.
Okay, great.
All right. Stay with NECN and NECN.com for continuing coverage of the Bulger trial. We'll bring you a verdict the moment it comes in.